All right, guys. So I wanted to make this video here, and I've been putting it off. I just didn't really know how to do it, and I wanted to make sure I can get all of this in the frame as best I could, and I want to give you guys a rundown on this craft here. Nothing special really in terms of what it actually is, but I just wanted to kind of give you guys an overview, because what usually happens, especially through my search on YouTube and looking for crafts that are, super fast and super cool, and yeah, I'm gonna say my crafts here are pretty cool. I'm very proud of it, considering what it was capable, or what it did in terms of speed and durability. And stuff like that. So I just wanted to share this build with you guys. So hopefully, I don't know, maybe you guys will be able to build something and use the information that I provided in your creation. So without further ado, let me introduce myself. My name is Ruben Howdigi. My head will be out of frame, so that's just, it's better for me that way, and it's better for you. But this is the Sweepwings Behemoth V2. It is built for speed, not long endurance. It probably could if you just minimize your throttle, but it's built for speed. It is a very strong type of EPP that I made for myself. The airfoil is increased just a little bit from the version 1 Behemoth to the version 2, which I gained about 1.5 inches to about 2 inches of extra material. So that increased wing area, and I also increased that front nose, which will help me punch through the air a little bit better, actually a lot better. So I wanted to give you guys a kind of a breakdown. I haven't really seen any crafts that are super fast on YouTube to kind of give them an idea of what, what type of gear and structure that's in there. So here it is. You guys can see it, hopefully. Let me lift it up so you guys can take a better look at it. There she is. This is something I built and flew in Hawaii. I have a couple videos on my channel here on YouTube. And make sure you guys hit the like and the subscribe button so you guys can follow any more progress that I do provide, any update stuff. Or if I make something new, you guys will be the first ones there. So hit the subscribe button and hit that there's a little bell thing so you guys can get notified when I do upload something. And hopefully I make it cool and keep you guys interested. So this little walk through is the kind of the top layout and the normal layout for usually a big craft like this. You kind of space your UHF over here on one end, and then your VTX on the other end. And this is a 1.2 VTX that is filtered. And here in the US, we're limited to 2 channels, and it's filtered. And I did add, let's see, yeah, there we go. So it's filtered. You guys can see it pretty well. Let me see if I can turn it like that. So we have a filter here. The antenna. This is a DragonPro antenna, which is nice because it's nice and low profile. And when you're going fast, you're normally not doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and if you are, you're so far out. Well, you try not to be that far out. That there really isn't much of an issue, because your antenna is your radius is coming out around like this instead of like this. So you're basically in panic. Well, you're not in panic mode. You're focused on your craft speed and what you're doing. So you're mainly gonna fly just like this, and you shouldn't really have an issue. If you're doing like crazy stuff, then I'd probably switch an antenna, a circular polarized antenna. There's a couple of them that are out there, so you would base it on your craft and your flying. So you would do that. But for me, this worked out really great for low profile. I kept it next to the wingtip, and just to kind of reduce a lot of the drag. The other 1.2 antennas are kind of like big and bulbous, and believe it or not, that's a lot of drag when you're going really fast. So that was something that I wanted to kind of reduce. So I stuck with this little dipole antenna by DragonLink or DragonPro.com, and they have those there. The wire is actually ran here in a little channel that I cut, and then it goes into the battery bay here that you can kind of see. Hopefully you can see. And these bays here fit 3,000 milliamp 6S lipos. They are pretty low C. They weren't really high C. I think they're 35, and the new ones that I got are about 45 C, so they might hold up. They fit there. I do have a GPS, which is in here for the OSD. This doesn't have a flight controller, and there is, when you have a big craft that, having a flight controller is very nice. But since I wasn't doing anything that was would be anything, long range, I wasn't really going too far. I knew where I was going with the craft, especially in my area. If you watch my videos, it's pretty flat, nothing too crazy. It's tons of room, tons and tons of room. And then Hawaii, if it did trigger a lost connection through the through the UHF system, a loiter would run me into a mountain. So if I set it too low, I would then circle and hit a mountain because of where I was at. It was a big valley. So there's a lot of, I took a lot of things into consideration. I do trust my links here. So that's why I don't have a flight controller with a loiter or return to home. It's really not, there's not a lot of systems out there that are rated for high voltage. So, yeah, that's why. 3,000 milliamp 6S here are in series. They pipe into the middle bay, which houses the actual OSD current sensor, and that's pretty much it. So let me see if I can tilt it up for you guys. Here, you guys can see pretty good. So here is the, this is called the Skylark Rock OSD that I got from Get FPV. They actually have the high voltage system there, which is actually quite nice. And it's a decent price, but to think about that, you're in high voltage. You're in a different kind of realm of gear that you're going to need. We'll put it that way. So you want to make sure you pay a little bit extra for stress management on your system. And there was a lot of stress here. So having a nice system works. I do have, and I will always fly on big crafts that have, that draw a lot of power, a separate BEC. So let's see if you can see it. The separate BEC is, is this it? Is this? It's actually over here. Is over here. It's a BEC. It's a 5 amp BEC that, it's a 5 amp BEC that is it's ran off a standalone pack. The pack is a 850 milliamp 3S pack that just powers the RX. That's its only job, is to power the RX. And the servos too, but these servos here, since I've used them and they don't draw that much, they're analog servos. They don't really consume that much, so that they'll never really wear out the battery during a long flight. Plus, This flight here, you'll probably see about 6 minutes of pure adrenaline. So the battery will last. And usually when I bring the battery down, I'll check it, and it's like barely even used. So I have done that testing at my field, so it works out really good. Tested it already. So that's the OSD and the PowerZ RX in here. So that's basically it. It's a nice little system. If you are looking into high voltage, I definitely would look at that system there, unless there's another system out there that I haven't found. But for me, it worked out very well. Going over here to the receiver end of or we'll go to the controls. You can kind of see it. I don't know if I'm probably blocking a light. Let's see. Can you see it? Boop. There it is. So this is the DragonLink V2, the Gold RX. Now, some people have mixed feelings with DragonLink, and you know, they have their own brand that they like to use. For me personally, it's what I'm comfortable with, so that's what I choose to run. I'm not connected to DragonLink or anything like that. I just know that the relationship on RC groups is very friendly and super helpful. And if there's an issue, I know I can send it in and get a replacement to get it fixed. Yeah, probably my gear is thrashed, but I know I have that that connection with the product. So super happy, and that's why I use DragonLink. Let's see what else we can talk about. Let's see, we've got the antenna out here, which is actually piped from here through this bay here. There's another little latch here which helps me kind of piped in the wires. What I usually do is I heat up a little metal rod, and then I poke a channel, and then I drill it, and then I can feed the wires through. That helps me keep a slim, sleek profile, and just keep it nice and tight. One thing you want to do and keep in mind is making sure you have a nice, sleek area. So everything is under here, and I pipe the channel here, and then my UHF is here. So very, very sleek, and then it's just folded. If you can see it, it's actually cut. Can you see it? Is it in camera? It's actually cut inside, and then I just kind of push it into the foam. So you can see. Sorry, you can. Trying to fit it. I'm trying to not bump everything, but that is how I did the electronics, the VTX, and all that stuff. The camera here, I don't really know. This isn't a run cam. This is just a regular. I think it's surveillance zone camera. I think it's the TZO or PZO 420 Mini. By Surveillance Zone. So that's what I have on here. The GoPro with case, for sure, always. And reason being with the GoPro in case, because it's extra weight and all that stuff, the aircraft doesn't really bother it. But I use it in case I fly into water, and in case I crash into something that the normal GoPro unhoused, protected, can't sustain the impact. I know the case will. So I have the footage just in case, for safety reasons. I know that the footage will be safe. So it sits up here. It's not the smoothest airfoil, but for my needs, it works out very well. And since I'm pretty limited to capabilities of what I can craft in my shop, doing it this way just works for me. And just doing it layout, it's just easy for me. Just throw it in, it's done, strapped, it holds. Moving up from the electronics, we're going to go into the power system, which needs to be a little bit stronger than your normal system. Usually, for me, I know that 10 pounds of weight is about 900 to 1,000 watts. Now, some people use different methods. Watts for me is very easy for me to understand. If I know watts, then I know weight and I know output. It just helps me understand, what I have to work with. So for the ESC, I have a 150 amp opto high voltage. It's rated for 12S system in here. You can kind of see it. It's buried quite nicely into the. You can see it, fairly well. So nice, good heat sink, visible. Definitely going to get plenty of airflow, and it's going to stay cool. The test, it did very well in multiple tests, so I know it's going to hold. I don't really exceed 150 amps, but I know that it's going to do a really good job. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so let me see if I can position this. So, where's it at? Look, it's on my... There we go, right there. It's on my neck. So here, the ESC is on top. It's floating on top. The motor itself actually probably goes to about here. So it's a rather large motor. So the wires actually get fed underneath. So you can kind of, I don't even know if you can see that, but let me just kind of explain. The ESC is on top. The wires go underneath into here, into the main bay, and then they kind of pipe around, and then they go up to the upper deck. They go to the next story up into the ESC. So that's kind of, it's hard to hide those wires because they're so fat. But that's the way I piped it. It goes underneath and then ties in, and it basically does a loop system. That's just how I guess that's how it works. It's how it works, right? So that's how I did it. The motor itself is a extremely big motor. I was given this motor by a manufacturer who is extremely small, but well versed in motor making. He's been around like Castle, KD. He knows like KDE Direct, the Megas and all that. Very knowledgeable person. I said, I need a motor that is capable of 12S, just Mondo power, capable of 10 pounds of weight. And he was able to calculate all that and give me a motor. Yeah, I don't know how he works it. It's just freaking awesome. All I can tell you, the results are phenomenal. And there's tons of more room to go faster. But I don't think I want to do that. Currently, this craft is capable of a 149 plus or 150 miles an hour with video, OSD, all that good stuff. So I can say that it peaked at 240 kilometers per hour, 150 miles per hour, no BS, on video. The craft held. So obviously here it is. So yeah, have that. But for speed, you definitely don't want a nice fat airfoil like this, but the fat airfoil helps during launching, during slow speeds, because of how much weight is on there. The fat airfoil helps in that aspect. So yeah, I'm not going for super duper speed, super duper. So the airfoil is a little bit thicker, but for me, I can always manipulate that airfoil and get faster. But right now I think the speed's pretty good. I do enjoy the heavy lifter style airfoil. I enjoy the very, very slow characteristics of the Behemoth V2, and it being able to fly extremely slow with what is on board. So I have a huge power system. I know I can float. The motor here is rated for, man, I think I hit over 4,000 watts on the motor, and I think it's rated for 250 amps plus. So I don't see that much. I'm only at like 100, probably at 100 and maybe 110 static on the ground here on the bench. On the OSD, I was probably peaking around 50 around. We'll call it just under 60 because I can't remember. So it did very well in terms of numbers, and then when it lands, it is hot, but since it is an in runner, it's not that hot. Like, it's not that bad. It's capable of or that's what it's used to. It's totally fine. So the prop here I'm using is it's an APC sport prop. It's a 10. Let me verify it. It's a 10 by. It is a 10 by 4 prop. So it's huge prop, and because it's the APC style props are very nice. They're super fat right here in the very middle, and they continue that shape all the way out to the tips. They do narrow, but there's a lot of material there, and it doesn't explode. During the testing phase, I've had a prop just literally explode, and that was pretty much it. Didn't really have success with the I think it was like a composite carbon fiber prop. It just got nuked. So this APC sport prop is holding very, very well. The motor mount itself on all the V2s are actually very stout. Let me see if I can swing it around. All right, there you can see. So the motor itself actually is about an 1/8 inch thick, 1/8 inch thick aluminum that actually works as a heat sink. The motor itself is aluminum polished, and it's then the heat transfers through the motor mount, and like on really, really hot runs, full bore, the whole motor mount is nice and hot, which is kind of cool because you know that it's working. So I didn't anticipate that. That was just a given, kind of a bonus, which is really cool. Let's see what else can I show you guys. The sparring here. I actually have sparring back here on the mounts, or by the mounts. It actually sinks in here. So I'm hoping to increase strength here with the motor. The mount being as big as it is, and the extra sparring here to kind of reinforce it that way. I do encourage other builders to do that. That way they kind of have that strength in the back section here, and it prevents tearing back here right at the V. It usually, more than likely, always tears. So having extra strength to kind of prevent that from cracking is a very nice little add-on that I started doing, and it's been helping a lot. There is extra sparring here. I'm gonna see if I can see, so I'm not pointing in the wrong direction. So I do have extra sparring here. There is extra sparring throughout the wing here, top and bottom. We have other top and bottom spars here along the edge, about 2 inches back from the leading edge to kind of get into the meat. I have extra fat spars. These are like, God, I don't even remember how they're. I think they're just big. They're big spars. I have here and an additional one on the top. Let's see. Yeah, I have another one here. I have two here, and the main one here. And then let's see what else we got. See if we can turn it around. Oh, here we go. So I have an additional spar up here, and I have another one here, which leads out to here and here. They kind of piggyback each other. And you can kind of see the extra spar. Let me see if I can lift that up. Right. Let's see if you can see it. Kind of see it right here. So those are the wing spars that kind of give it that to give it that rigidity on the wings. Let's see, what else can I show you guys? Yeah, I mean, it's that's basically it. That's like the best rundown I can do that I've seen actually online. You know, I actually haven't seen too many, but I guess we'll go here to the control rods. Servos here are actually proven HobbyKing double ball bearing waterproof servos that I usually get. They're about $8, believe it or not. I use them because they've been tried and true. You can use $200 or $100 servos if you want. It's totally up to you. But I trust these. You know, I stock up on these. I just trust them. I love them. They work very good, super strong. They have a lot of torque. Awesome. The control rods here are actually just 256 rods. Believe it or not, you don't really need, you could probably use 440 rods, which is, you know, comfortable for some people using a craft of this speed, or, you know, rated for speed or something like that, or race, whatever. You could probably do that. That's totally fine. But since the carbon and the regular 256 rods work, and believe it or not, there's very little flex in these rods here that, you know, the elevons, you know, they're only moving that much, right? I'm not doing acrobatic maneuvers. You'll watch in the videos. If you do decide to watch the videos, I'm not doing anything crazy. Like, it's locked in, you know, banking, you know, very simple. So the stress on these surfaces are down, you know, obviously little stress, little working at that speed. You know, let me see, a deflection in the wind or in the air, you know, is actually increased. So the faster you go, you only need a little bit of movement. I hope I described that correctly. I think, and I can't really explain. Well, I can, I just can't help thinking while I'm explaining. So understand that the faster you go, the very less control surface movement you need. So something to keep in mind. Underneath, let's see, did I show you guys here? Because I wanted the trailing edge of this wing to be so thick, it doesn't blend flush with the elevon. Does that make sense? Yeah. So there's actually a lip here. But because of the way the airfoil works and the flow through the air, this little gap means absolutely nothing. So it's the top that you really want to focus on. But I wanted, let me see if I can explain this. I wanted the leading edge of the foam, of the material, to be as thick as possible. So you have that strength on the leading edge. Does that make sense? I wanted this to be thick. That way there's more material there to give it, so it's more rigid. Because since there's a lot of force here and movement does tend to happen a lot, I wanted this to be strong. The thinner you go here, the weaker all this is, and the weaker this whole back section is. So that was my thinking, and that was my method of doing it, and it worked. So for me, let's see what else I can show you guys. I think that's pretty much it. This is a very long video, but I wanted to show you guys, you know, the build and up close of this guy here. I am very proud of this little guy. Well, not a little guy. It's kind of a big guy. Of this guy, because I wanted to show everyone what's capable, what's possible. You know, give them that kind of idea of, you know, maybe the future of drone racing. Instead of having small crafts, we can have very fast ones, high power systems that, you know, do long range, you know, stuff like that, endurance combinations. But mainly I wanted to show everyone you know, what is possible with the wing of this size. And mainly, you know, the future of drone racing and the sport itself, I want, I want it to spread, and I want to be able to kind of show others what my what my passion is. Like, I love building these. I'm not a real big fan of like racing. Well, I guess I mean, I'm not a real big fan of like the small stuff. My passion is the bigger ones. Like, racing itself is nice, but the big wings, that's what I want to see. I want to see these big guys and bigger. That's what I really want to see. So for me to kind of like watch the little ones right now, and even the route that they're going in right now is cool. I know it needs to happen to kind of progress into the next step. But for me, I'm already thinking the next step. Like, I'm thinking the next step of the big size. So, and what that brings is, you have, large race venues that, people have these custom made aircrafts, not out of foam, but at a higher grade material, for these events. So that's my whole thinking, my whole thought process. And I'm hoping somebody out there will be able to catch on and kind of understand, what I've been trying to do, and kind of show others, what is possible in the RC world. So with that, I'm going to end the video, even though it's super duper long, and I wanted to show you guys just everything that I put into there. That way, maybe you can be out there looking, and you want to start something, make something, you have this video to reference, I guess. So just be careful. 12S, high, the system here is very dangerous. You can cut your fingers off and stuff. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell thingy so you get notifications. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and follow me here. All right, guys. Later.